Hey y'all, Kasey here, and welcome back to a discussion of episode number two on Blue Therapy on Netflix. If you have not seen my first episode regarding this and my last video regarding this, please just go back and watch at your convenience. There are some things I'm going to say here, though, if you haven't watched it, that'll still kind of bring some things to light and catch you up. It starts off a little bit, just for a very smidget, with Yasmine and Mike. And this discussion is kind of the beginning in episode two of the end of episode one, where he discussed this revelation that he's $12,000 in debt and opens up to actually, I don't even work anymore. And I haven't worked in 2 months. As a matter of fact, to take it a little further, every time you leave, when I leave with you, I just circle the block. So when he did that, I was like, ooh, as a partner or a viewer, and then as a clinician, I'm like, ooh, because now that's opened up something else. What I often find in couples, and this is also what I teach, most times what they're coming for is just surface. It's always something more, or oftentimes something more, or a little bit deeper that one or both may not be privy to. So, this is a perfect example of that. At the end of this session, again, is only a few minutes because most of their session was from the first episode. At the end of this, Karen, the therapist, gave them the homework to write down three things that are hard to say. I don't like that. I don't like giving work that is going to immediately open a wound that is probably going to just blood is going to burst everywhere. Now we have to contain it. You don't have to go back and dig for stuff or dig for chaos or the most vulnerable moments to call them out. Now, this is what I can operate and fix from. I don't want you to come and me just ask a question that's going to cause an argument. I want to see you in your natural cycle that may cause an argument, but not by a question that you're not comfortable for, you're not ready for, that you are too new for. It starts therapy off on the therapist going straight to the negative, so to speak. I don't like to live that way in that space in the work that I do. So, but her process just may be different and it may actually work. I don't love it. I don't love that assignment at all. What I do like with them is what I do like with the therapist rather, when Mike said, I don't have feelings, I'm a man, who wants to hear all of that? She said, well, what feeling do you not want to talk about? I was like, yeah, there we go. Because that's what I would do. What feeling do we not want to talk about? And so he says the feeling that he doesn't want to talk about because he don't talk about feelings. But he admitted to just having this feeling of worthlessness, feeling weak and less than. That had to be very hard for him to say out loud, especially after he's been feeling that for a while now. So I like how she led him there. And it was very gentle. It was very gentle to where he didn't even notice. Here's what I feel. Here's what I feel. Here's what I feel. So I appreciate that she did that with him, but I absolutely at all do not love the homework that she gave to them because I can imagine when they come next session, it's just gonna create a lot of chaos. That's that's not necessary. Then we go to Maria and Viktor. What I did not love about this is the setting, which is why some of you say, hey, this is reality TV. I don't like it. because it gives some parts of that real, but also some of those things are probably staged. Hey, talk about this. Let's do it at home. Try to be comfortable. So there can have a level of authenticity to it, but I can also see where it may not be authentic. In this scene, and the scene was very brief, by the way. In this scene, Maria's sister comes in. She says some things that creates discomfort. She lets it be known that she's on the same train with mom, that you're wasting your time, that you are on for this joyride, so to speak. I didn't like that. I didn't like, and again, I've been married for a long time. One thing that I've learned that works for me is people who don't live in your home and people who don't love and regard your relationship and partner in the way that they do you. Not saying she has to love him like I love my sister, but I love you enough. I respect you enough. And I respect this relationship. If that person you're communicating with about your relationship is doesn't see it in that way, I want to communicate with them about their relationship, because of course your primary concern is protection of your sister or protecting of the person you're talking to. So the other person may not get that level of empathy from you or your ability to be non-biased. So I don't like that she was able to just come in and say that about him and he's sitting right there. I was like, yeah, no. Don't like that. What I do like though is where he expressed in the beginning, I understand your culture and your need to do what you do to support your family. But he then goes on to describe her giving to her family monthly as a subscription. I don't like how he diminished it. I understand what he was trying to say, but he's probably trying to be snide too. But it's how he diminished it to something she's subscribing to, something, and almost like she's obligated to subscribe to it and she can't opt out. So I don't like that language there. I like to see him kind of a little bit comfortable in his home and able to reflect that. But I don't like that, and hopefully that's then kind of clear up, in therapy. What I did see is I like the introduction of Kelvin and Debbie because their life is very interesting. The first thing that stood out for me with Kelvin and Debbie is just the way they describe each other. And Kelvin said, "We've known each other for 10 years." Debbie said, "We've been together for 7 years." On one hand, this is how long this person has been in my life. This is how long this person has been a part of my life, how long we've been connected to each other and in relationship with each other. This is how long I've been knowing her. It's how long she's been around. Again, I'm a clinician, so my ear hears things a little bit differently. And just the way that he described it, their relationship. So that part I picked up on early on. He is a workaholic. He is always busy. He's not available. And Debbie is asking for more. She's asking for him to be there, not just be there and shower her with gifts, which is what he's doing, to apologize for not being available, but he also is just so dedicated to this business and seeing it through, maybe because of the relationship this business has with his childhood and his mother, that now that he has it back because she did lose it, now that he has it back. I just have to make sure I see this thing through so we don't lose it again. Maybe it's an ode to his mother. Maybe he feels like I want to do this thing for her. I love her. I respect her. This thing was a part of my life. I grew up here and I want to honor her. But in honoring her, he is pushing aside his relationship and he doesn't know how to manage the two. So he's a restaurant owner. Debbie is an executive assistant. She describes him as her best friend. He describes her as his safe space. Debbie feels that Kelvin kind of bit off more than he can chew. Because of that, it's a little it's not working out for her. With this relationship, because they've been together for so long, she stated that his acts of service is top tier. It's 7 out of 10, but the quality time sucks. He knows how to do for her, but not show up for her because he doesn't have the capacity for it in his life. He doesn't think they need therapy. He mentioned being content in their relationship. She feels like it's falling apart. But the way he described falling apart is, it's just maintenance. So they see things very different. For him, this is not a big deal. Just give me more time. The business is almost there. When it's there and it's coasting, I'm I'm all yours. So even though he doesn't have the capacity for her in his life. He really likes to keep his hands on things, specifically where she is, what she has going on. And she described that by saying, he kind of watches my movements. He knows where I am. He keeps tabs on me all the time. And it's disturbing and it's uncomfortable, but he has time to do that and watch where I am and watch what I do and where I go, but not that time to actually spend for me. One thing she also said that maybe he feels secure or insecure about being ahead of him, and that she's not trying to outpace him, but maybe that's his insecurity. So with this couple, I wonder, what is this fight for? What are they fighting for? He is not in a place where he has the capacity for a relationship. His relationship is that business, which is tied to his childhood and that childhood dream. And that relationship with his mother and still wanting to please her. He can't do both. He can't do both successfully. That's for sure. It's interesting with this couple. She is some parts moving on and he's standing still and saying, "Hey, this is okay. Just come back down here. I'll come back over here to where I am and stay here and wait patiently on me while I grow this thing." And I will say this as a business owner, and even working with business owners, it is not easy to be with someone that owns and runs their business and they are in their business day to day. Most times they haven't figured out yet or don't have the capacity yet to make that thing number one. They're constantly in it. It takes up a big chunk of their life, especially a restaurant. to where everything else can be secondary. That is what I see here. Because she's not primary, it's okay. The restaurant is primary. If she were the restaurant, oh boy, he'd been trying to figure this thing all out because he doesn't want to lose it. But she's not that. She's that other thing. She's not the priority. She will be when I get this to where I need to be. I don't know if I believe that. So I, again, with this couple, I just wonder, why are we still together? Right? And I know some of you may be thinking, you're a therapist, how can you say that? They've been in each other's lives for 10 years. They have been in an intimate relationship for 7 years. They don't live together, which I completely understand because that's based on Debbie's values. We are not married, we're not living together, and he's okay with that. But it hasn't gone any further, it hasn't progressed in 7 years. And I wonder how long she's been asking to move forward. 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? When is enough? So I think she's fed up. She's tired of just the gifts and she doesn't want it anymore. And this is her last ditch effort in trying to fix this relationship. That's what I think about, about Debbie and Kelvin. His love, his primary love is just not her right now. It's the relationship and pleasing pleasing his mom. What we saw at the end, though, which, oh my goodness, gave me all types of feels, was Jay and Daisy. Jay and Daisy, the couple who've been together for 2 years, who have the 1 year old baby. There's a lot of broken trust in their relationship because during that time, Jay, during a break, I would say, Jay met someone and there it wasn't a physical affair, so to speak. And I mean physical, I mean sex. That didn't happen. But it was it was a breach of trust and deceit for Daisy, even though they were not together, because she said we were trying to figure it out. And this is a common thing you see in relationships. When we take a break, we don't clarify what a break is. We don't clarify what happens during this break. Are we taking a break because we need time away from each other? Are we taking a break to just take a step back and reflect and look at this with a pair of fresh eyes? But we're doing this together and moving forward. That is the conversation that people need to have when they say that when they say they're going to go on a break. Daisy took break as the latter. Jay took break as the former. And nothing wrong with either. I want to clear that up. Nothing is wrong with either. They just didn't clarify what a break was. So he met someone. He lied about it, even with her being right there. He doubled down, lying about it. If he said, I bought Bitcoin in that lie. So he was doubling down on, on that. He ended up walking out of the session during the homework exercise. I didn't like the homework exercise with this couple. Again, I'm not liking these exercises because these exercises just reopens wounds. Now, some of them may not be fully healed. Some of them may have stitches in it. But why do we need to burst the stitches? So when you have a homework assignment or in session assignment or intervention, and you turn to your partner and you say, something I want to say to you, or something I have a hard time saying to you is, and all the partner can say is, I understand. Thank you for letting me know. That's some bull because I understand what she's teaching them, but they're not ready for it, and that's a poor example of doing that. So he came out and said the truth that I did kiss that person. I lied and I kissed that person. And I can see right then, ooh, something is building up. Now, this wasn't the first one. The first one was something about her hair, or no, she said something about his hair she didn't like. And he said something about, oh, my friends think you're crazy. When he said that, I was like, now see, that's why I didn't like this dang assignment. That's why I didn't like that. With her and her hyper vigilance, the level of insecurity that she has, the way she goes through his phone, and her lack of trust, she knows that it probably paints her in not the most pleasant light. She knows that she has trust issues. So now to hear that because of this, and you're having confidence with your friend about it, your friends, they think I'm scary. And as you're saying that, you're laughing. I think I'm crazy. She's saying that, I'm laughing. And so now I'm a crazy lady and y'all are making fun of me. That's not funny. So I see why she got bothered, but it wasn't as heavy as the second part. The second part is where it goes into episode 3. And so I absolutely did not love this assignment from this therapist. Again, some of her assignments, some of her interventions. Let's start with the hard stuff right now. I just met you. We're on session 1. What is the hardest thing that you want to say that you can't say? What is the worst thing that you've ever done that you probably haven't shared? I wouldn't dare ask that. Why is it important? Why is that an important question to the process of therapy? Some of the methods there with her came off a little bit of coaching. I remember the first session I said she's doing a little more of EFT. This session I saw a little bit less of that. And maybe she kind of came out of that model and she went to something else. I saw a little bit of coaching there. She did kind of go with the feelings and how do things land for you, some of those things I would do. But I just don't love it. Maybe it's for TV because we need the drama. We need them to come back and we need to see them walk out on each other because that happened. That's not always the full process of therapy. That is rare. I've had very high conflicted cases and couples. It doesn't always happen that way. There have been times, but I would say 1 out of every 15, there's someone who yells, someone who just walks out. They come back, and maybe because production says, hey, calm down, go back. So maybe behind some behind the scenes that are just not authentic in this. So we will keep talking about it. Let me know what your thoughts are just with this couple and what that looks like with them. But here's a reflection I have for you. If someone was to ask you in front of your partner, what is the worst thing you've ever said to him that, you're just afraid to say? How would that land for you? What would you think about that? Also, in reflection, I want to ask you this. Do you feel like you're present in your relationship? And ask your partner that. Do you feel like I'm present? with you? Do you feel like I'm really here with you? Sometimes we think that we are, and we don't really ask the right questions to see. So I challenge you to do that. Ask your partner and comment, or you can shoot me an email, hello at thekeyking.com, and I will read it next session. If you respond, I will read it, and I will respond. Respond to that live here. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with someone that you know is watching this show and kind of want to get some deeper reflections and deep dives on this couple, and maybe just get a thought from another perspective, from perspective of another therapist. This is to show that this is not the way all therapists conduct therapy and how they hold space in their sessions. It all looks different. Some of this that she does may work for you, and some absolutely not. And nothing is wrong with that. So let me know your thoughts, and I will see you next time when we talk about episode 3. I'm so excited to introduce the new couples to you and where that ended up with Jay and Daisy. Until then, goodbye.